Welcome to Physics 4.1 on momentum. Today is just going to be a TUVE, terms, units, variables, and equations, so be sure to take pretty good notes. Remember on TUVE, these are problems to be analyzed, not to be solved. Let's start with some definitions. First of all is momentum. Momentum is mass in motion. Impulse is the amount of change in momentum. It's the application of force over a period of time. Mass is a measure of the amount of matter in an object. Velocity is a vector quantity including both speed and direction of an object. Force is a push or pull exerted on any object. And time is a measure of change between two events or moments. Those are your 6 terms that you're going to be using for momentum to start with. Let's look at the units that go along with those terms. Momentum is a kilogram meter per second. Okay, kg m/s, a kilogram meter per second. Mass is in kilograms. Velocity is in meters per second. Force is in newtons or kilogram meters per second. Time is in seconds and impulse is in newton seconds. That's a new term, a new unit. All units can be converted from English to standard and should be converted from English to standard for correct calculations. So if I give you the mass in grams, you have to convert. If I give you the velocity in miles per hour, you have to convert. The variables that go with them. Momentum is represented by a fluffy P, and it's really hard to make a fluffy P in a PowerPoint, so I will make one on the board. Mass is the variable m. T is time, V is velocity, F is force, and J will be the variable for impulse. So the momentum equation is fluffy P is equal to mv, where fluffy P is the momentum measured in kilogram meters per second, m is your mass in kilograms, and v is your velocity in meters per second. That needs to be added to your formula sheet. The impulse equation is J is equal to Ft. J is impulse measured in newton seconds, F is force measured in newtons, and T is time measured in seconds. That needs to be added to your formula sheet. Now, in your notes, there is a relationship between impulse and momentum. Impulse, Ft, is equal to the change in momentum. So this theorem, right, that impulse is equal to a change in momentum, reveals some interesting relationships, such as the inverse relationship between force and time. You can have a big force over a little time or a smaller force over a longer time. So let's write down some of those relationships based on that major equation. Momentum is directly related to mass and velocity. Mass and velocity then are inversely related to each other. Remember that directly related means they do the same thing, and inversely related means they do opposite things. Impulse is directly related to force and time, but force and time are inversely related to each other. Then if you take the larger equation, force is directly related to mass and velocity, and momentum is directly related to force and time. So here's a problem to solve. A 5 kilogram object experiences a 10 Newton force for a duration of 0.1 second. Then, what is the momentum change of the object? So the red is given to you. Remember, you are pulling information from the problem. So I give you 5 kilograms, newtons, those are your units, and seconds. And then in the question, what is the momentum change? This should be momentum. You then have to fill in the rest of it based on your notes and what you know. Kilogram is mass, that is 5. It's okay to have the values in here even though you're not solving it yet. Force is in newtons and it was 10. Time is in seconds and it was 0.1. Now the momentum will be in kilogram meters per second, and that's what we don't know. Now, the equation that you need is not the momentum equation, it's actually the impulse equation. Impulse is force times time, which is equal to the mass times the change in velocity. You're going to be working on pulling information from problems today. Thanks for watching.